Hello and welcome to MACA 1200 V1201. I don't talk like that. That would be crazy to have to listen to for an entire semester. My name is Sean Sarcona. This is 1200 V1201. It's an online digital illustration class, so we will be using Adobe Illustrator. It's a pretty sweet program. When you log into Canvas, which is where we're going to be viewing a lot of this stuff, you'll see we have the common tabs. There's announcements, modules, syllabus, grades, assignments, and discussions. I've laid it out pretty simply. I don't like to have a lot of clutter here, so let's just walk through some of these areas. So announcements, you'll see there's an announcement here. You can click on it, you can read it. I think you can comment on it. No one ever has, but you could. There's modules. So all of the assignments that I give you will all be under modules. So anytime you need something, this is where you're going to find it. Okay. Looks like a lot of stuff in this first one. A lot of this stuff in this introduction is just like overview stuff or extra stuff that could help, but definitely not 100% needed for the class. We have the syllabus, which we'll get into, grades, which we'll just skip to real quick and see. You should see my grades in here. Here's each assignment, and then here is how much they are out of, and then here is my score. Because I've not taken the class yet, I have 0 points. Here are assignments. So you'll see again, oops. Here's some of the assignment stuff. We'll be turning in all of our assignments via a Dropbox folder. That's the best way to get stuff to me and me to get stuff to you. Dropping it inside of here or uploading it to this is like a horrible way. We will be having discussion board items too, so you'll see those. So let's jump back to modules and go through our first day handout. Okay. Zip down here to Fall 17, 1200 Sarcona, and we click on it. And of course you can download it right here. And I'll say save, and I'll say open. Okay, so here is our first day handout. All right, so the first page of our first day handout is this introduction to the class. And so what I like to do every semester is start off with some quotes. All right, so read through the quotes, and you'll find one of your things that you'll be doing for the class. Let me just hit the back button a couple times. One of the things you'll be doing for the class under your discussion board, and this is going to be by the first Wednesday of the class, okay? You'll be going into this welcome board. There he is. You'll be clicking on the welcome board, and then you'll wait. There it is. Introduce. One day I will learn to speak. Introduce yourself to the class. You don't need to go into a crazy background, a short paragraph, 5+ sentences, who you are, why you're taking the class, and what your initial thoughts are. Then choose one of the quotes from the first day handout that you feel speaks to you. Mention the quote, then why you feel it speaks to you. You get 1 point for answering this and responding to somebody else's. Okay, so 1 total point is what you would get for doing both of those items, not 2 points for doing both 1. Okay, so read through these. These are pretty awesome quotes. Every semester I try to update them, so those should be newer. Then there's a blank page. You could print that out and color on it if you like. And then here's our stuff. So there's my name, Sean Sarcona. And I spell my name the best way you can spell Sean, which is with the A-U-N, not the W or the E-A-N, which is, in my opinion, like crazy. Whatever. Here is my Skype name. There is my email. There is my phone. Best way, the best way to get a hold of me is right there, email. If you email me, typically within 24-48 hours I'll get back to you. Sometimes it's within 5 or 10 minutes, but at the very most it's 28 to 48 hours. Okay. The class starts on Mondays. Okay, so every Monday we're gonna like reset, sort of. You'll have new stuff to do. There's a calendar, and that goes by starting on every Monday. Typically our assignments are going to be due on Sunday. There are a few exceptions, which you'll see. What you need for the class. Writing utensil. Take notes. Even though you're seeing this in a video, even though it's on YouTube, you should still take notes. You need to make that connection between what you're seeing on my screen and what you're going to be doing. Okay? So take notes. Even if it is just marking off, like, you know, the instructor said something important at 3 minutes, write down 3 minutes, he said something important. That way you at least know to reference back to that video. Typically 10 gigs or more of space is plenty of room for your stuff in the class. Okay, so make sure you have that on your hard drive or an external or whatever. A pair of headphones. Make sure you have headphones. Because most of our stuff is video based, your parents and dogs and siblings will not want to hear me talking at 2 in the morning when you're probably working on stuff. 20 to 30 hours or more per week. Okay, so this number will kind of vary. Last time we ran it online, this was about a pretty accurate number that people fed back and said, you know, I probably spent about 20 to 30 hours each week working on my stuff. So that's, make sure you have at least that amount. Okay, if you don't use it all, it's fine, but you need to have at least that. Any Illustrator book I recommend. It's incredibly helpful, especially if you're sitting at the dentist office and you just want to get a little bit more reading done on some of the tools that we're using or different ways that you could use the tools. Pluralsight account. Again, not required, but definitely recommended. It's an awesome way to learn a lot of the stuff that we're doing, and even taking it further. There we go. Bing, thank you. Yes, I want 15 things about Pluralsight before I get to the actual site. That's why I went to Bing. All right. So this is Pluralsight, and what it does, just close that, is it has training for all the stuff that we're doing. So if you, let's say you're like an advanced person, you're like, you know, this Illustrator class is good, it's giving me some basics, but I really want to see where I could take this a little bit further. Okay, so they have little courses, they call them, or little modules that you could follow along with too. Okay, and what's cool about it is that the videos are, you know, rated, but they're all pretty good. Okay, if you go to YouTube, you could definitely find more tutorials on Illustrator, but they're typically not going to be like fantastic. Pluralsight is pretty good. At our bookstore, you can get a whole year of Pluralsight, which is amazing stuff, for $100. That's a pretty good deal. Software. Because we're online, you will need the Adobe software. We're using, or the video will be using 2017. Okay, so we'll be using Adobe Illustrator CC 2017. You could get by with 2015. Anything before that, you'll have some troubles in some areas. Okay, you can get this through Adobe. So if you go to students.adobe.com or something like that, I'm sure Bing will take me to a completely wrong area, or it'll just load forever. But they do offer discounts on Adobe's website for students. Okay, the base price for this is $20 to $30 a month for the software. Okay, now I recommend download the trial. Make sure you're going to stay in the class. Okay, because you can get this for 30 days. Make sure you're going to stay in the class and then get it. That way, at least you get a free month out of it. Okay. And then you'll need a Dropbox account. So you'll click on this. I have a separate video. You'll see under modules, there is one that says setting up your Dropbox. That's what you want to do. Set up your Dropbox. So go to your Dropbox account. You can click the link, take you there, set it up. I want it set up in a specific way. Okay, so make sure you watch the video. You can obtain a limited trial of all the above software, which is just that Adobe one. And then if you need to, there it is, visit adobe.com for students and discounts. The course will guide you through the steps and processes of using Adobe Illustrator, creating vector artwork for use in imagery and animations, be able to use a pen tool, create vector imagery, logos, use proper coloring, illustrate and shade a character, advanced tools for creating different appearances. Okay, so we'll be going over a lot of stuff, and the whole purpose of Illustrator is that we are illustrating stuff, but we were using it in a way that is for a dual purpose. One is illustrations, just to have a still illustration, and the other side is that we may want to animate some of the stuff, so then we have to see how we would set it up for the animation, not necessarily animate it. Okay, so here's our there's our class name again, and here's our assignment breakdown. Okay, so if you've never had an instructor do this before. I grade based on a solid point system, okay? And so what that means is instead of you having percentages and averages and all this stuff, I just figured out what the points would be, right? So for pathing, there's 5 points. So if you don't do pathing, then the highest you can get is less than 5 points, okay? If you don't do the music icons, then you don't get those 7 points. If you add up all the points here, you'll see that these 90 plus this 10 equals 100, like 100%. And then there's 2 extra credit points, so if you do mess up somewhere along the line, you can make some extra points up, okay? So these are the assignments that we're going to be doing, and there will be some other stuff kind of like mixed in here a little bit that I'll get into later on a little bit, but you'll see. Discussion board, 10 points on that. Tear sheet, 5, we'll see, and then that total is 90. Okay, so all these points that are here, these are the actual physical assignments that we're going to have for the class. So this is all the stuff you have to do in the class. Now, because we're in a competitive field, I leave room for all these. So all of these assignments have been, I'm not going to say dumbed down, but they've been right-sized. How about that? They've been right-sized for just understanding the basics of the tool, okay? And so what that does is it gives us more room, or it gives you more room to play with it and to push yourself a little bit further. So that's where these going beyond points are. So these aren't locked into a single aspect of any one of these assignments, but it's your way to show me that you've gone beyond stuff, the regular assignment, and done more on the assignment, okay? So for instance, on music icons, someone last semester, instead of doing the bare minimum of the assignments, they did 4, 5, 6 extra music icons. On their pathing, instead of just doing the standard one, they did several different versions of the pathing, okay? So that's going beyond. That's showing me that, yes, I can do the assignment, but I can also push those skills or take these skills that I've learned and apply them in other areas. That's what going beyond means. So the way that I do this is I look at your assignment, so let's say character. I look at your character assignment and I say, okay, well, did they do the bare minimum of the assignment and get the 10 points? Yes, they did, so they get the 10 points. Or did they go beyond? And then if you went beyond, depending on how far beyond you went, I give extra points, okay? It's pretty simple, but it's just something I want to make sure that you understand right off the bat. So you don't get all the way to, let's say, the tear sheet, and then realize, geez, I should have been doing all this extra stuff along the way, okay? It's not something you want to really, you can't go back and redo that. You can just do it along the way. Makes everyone's life easier. You'll also see that I have a daily drawing. Okay, this is an assignment where every single day you're going to draw, and I'll show you on the calendar in a few minutes, but you will be drawing every single day, and you'll be submitting those drawings to me, okay? That way I can look at them and make sure you're drawing. If an assignment is late, 1 point off, boop, boop, per day, okay? So make sure assignments aren't late. I'm not going to read through this entire first day handout. It's 10 pages. I don't like reading 10 pages of first day handouts every single day. You guys can read. We can't read, probably shouldn't be taking an online class. But you can read. All right, so I am going to read these, and then the rest of this first day handout will just kind of skim through. So keys to success. So this is stuff that will make you successful in the class. Set aside a regular schedule for working. That's simple. Don't wait until the last minute. Avoid distractions while working. Ensure you understand what is required. Watch videos ahead of working on them and take notes. Don't be afraid to redo something. Do homework. Meet deadlines. Ask questions. Push your skills. Okay? So, doing all of these things will ensure success. If you don't do these things, then you're going to have troubles. Okay? Keys to failure. Putting off work. Assuming an assignment will be simple. Not setting aside time to work. Make up excuses why your work isn't done. Guessing what's required. Not taking notes. Turning in your work as you feel like it. Okay? So all of these, they may sound like pretty obvious, but people do them every single semester. So never assume that an assignment will be simple, because it's always been more complex than you think it's going to be. If it is simple, then just do it. Get it done. All right? You want to have more time to finish something than be crunched and not be able to learn the stuff, and then that hurts you in the long run. Okay? Attendance policies. Oops, this says 8 weeks. It should be 12 weeks. Just ignore that. It's 12. Each week there will be a discussion forum. Okay, so we'll be going through the discussion forum stuff in a second. To communicate, use my email. Okay, use my Macomb email, the one I showed you way up there. Don't cheat in the class. Using somebody else's work, having somebody else do your work, turning in somebody else's work, or having someone talk you through every single step, that's cheating. Okay, or stealing somebody else's work is cheating. Okay, and you could actually get kicked out of the department, and you can get kicked out of the college for cheating too. If you look at the student handbook, you can read all about it. We are ADA compliant, so if you need any information, you can check out the special services right there. Confidential and proprietary information, that's really, read through that. Duration, 9 instructional modules delivered over 12 weeks, so just ignore that. 8 again, we'll fix that later. Each week's folder may contain one or more of the following: video, lectures, assignments. We'll get through that. Okay. Here's my grading. So 198 is a solid A. All right. So if you get 100% to 98%, or 100 points to 98 points, you get a solid A in the class. If you get 97 to 93 points, you'll get an A minus. If you get 92 points to 89 points, you get a B plus. So if we rewind and go back up to the top here, figuring out these points here, you'll see that this here is a 90, right? So if I got a perfect score on all of these assignments, the highest I'm going to get is a 90, which if we scroll down here, is in the B plus range. Okay, so if you do everything exactly as I want it, it's a B plus. If you push your skills, that's where you can get into the A minus and get into the A region. Okay, so make sure you do that if you want that solid A. Just so we are aware of this, the C right here, this is average. Okay, so typically you have people in the class that are B's, you have some that are C's, you have some that are D's, and then you may have one or two that is an E, and you may have one or two that is up here. Okay, so it's all in how much of a grade you want, how high you want your grade to be. This is based on your effort and the work you turn in. So make sure that you're aware of this. Okay, if you need to, pause the video, think about it for a few minutes just to make sure it's all sunk in there. All right, lots of words here. Read through all these words. Okay, I want to make sure that you understand all the stuff, but I definitely don't need to read all this to you. You download the PDF, read through it. It'll take you like 5 minutes to do. Okay. Discussion clarification. If you do experience any trouble, because it does happen, whether it's online, personal, private, whatever it is, make sure you contact me. Don't just drop off the face of the earth and not let me know and then try to catch up later on. It doesn't work. Okay. Because we're not face to face, I don't know what you're doing. Let me know. All right. Here is a week by week schedule. So this is going to be your Bible. I'll say Bible. This is going to be your Bible or your map quest. Maybe that's better. I don't know. Just follow this. Okay. So week 1, 8, 12, 21, 17. So that's going to be the first week of class. Welcome and pathing assignment. All right, so you'll watch the welcome to class video. Hey, you're watching right now. You'll do your setting up the Dropbox. You'll watch your playing in Illustrator. Okay, this will just go through, like, if you've never used Illustrator, here's just some basic functionality of it. Okay, here's how the nuts and bolts work. And then you'll watch the pathing assignment. So this is our actual, like, our very first assignment. Okay, this pathing assignment. This stuff you're not turning in here. This is just so you can go through it. Make sure you go through it so you understand the stuff. That's why it's there. Setting up your Dropbox, really important. That's how we get your files. And then this, obviously, you're watching, so should be good. Here's your turn-ins. Okay, so right in this week-by-week schedule, you can see like what's required to turn in. 1.3, 1.1, 1.2, and then turn in your daily drawings. Okay, then we go to week 2. Watch music icons, turn in this, this, and this. Week 3, watch logo design, turn in this, this, and this. All right. When we get to there we go. When we get to these areas here, we have some opportunities to do some of the going beyond stuff. So when we get to stuff like the character design, if you want to design your own character, you'll submit the design to me so I can approve it. So I can say, yes, that design will work. If you're doing a vector poster of your own, same thing, okay? So you'll see those, and you'll see 11.5, that's our very last week. We actually finished up on 11.11 that week. So here's all the end stuff. Here's one extra credit survey, and then way over here in week 6, there it is, middle of semester survey. It's free points, people, do it. I don't know why people don't do it. It's a survey. It's not even like hard to ask. Answer questions, you just type words, or I don't know, whatever. Okay, so let's jump around back into Canvas and see what we're going to be doing. All right, so in here we have our calendar. Boop, boop, boom. I clicked you. There you go. I'm going to download you. And I'm going to say save and open. Here we go. Here's our calendar. So here's where we start. Week 1, start of fall term. Ba-doom. All right. So you'll see on here, draw 15 minutes, draw 15 minutes, draw 15 minutes. So every day you draw for 15 minutes. Now, initially, start off just drawing stuff on a piece of paper. Okay. Don't use paper with lines on it. If you're serious about being an artist, get a sketchbook. Sketch in the sketchbook. Okay. And then you just draw for 15 minutes, and then at the end of the week you could just take pictures of these and then upload them to your folder, okay, up to your Dropbox folder. On Saturday I give you a challenge, okay, so you just interpret the word however you want. Basic drawing elements, okay, you can Google that if you want, whatever. If it said rabbit, you could draw a Bugs Bunny or a realistic rabbit. I don't care. The idea is just, here's a challenge word, let's see what you do with it. Okay, so still 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, okay? All your work you'll see is going to be due on these Sundays for the most part, okay? There might be a couple that are due like on a Friday or a Wednesday, but for the most part, that's the day. Draw 15 minutes, draw 15 minutes, you'll see, draw for 15 minutes, like all over the place. It's like crazy how much. When we get to here, October 28th, that's our last day of drawing, okay? So after this, we don't have to draw, but it's definitely recommended to continue drawing, especially if you want to improve your skills. And then our class ends right here. So this break, we're online anyway, but doesn't affect us, okay? And end of fall term doesn't really affect us. If you have other classes on campus, then you can check it out. That's actually week 15, and then that's 16. Dang it. Always something. Whatever. Oopsie, back. And back. There we go. Okay, so there's a calendar, so you can print that out too and keep it on your desk. That way you know to draw for 15 minutes every day. Questions and clarifications. So if you have a question, you can post it here. If it's something specifically to me, then definitely email me. Okay. Canvas doesn't let me know, hey, there's something posted here, so I don't always see that. There are definitions. Okay, on the on-grounds, you're tested on these. On the online, there's not really a point to test you on online definitions because you can just look at your paper and answer stuff. So I've saved you the trouble of cheating. Not that you would cheat, right? So here's a bunch of stuff. So again, read through the definitions. Make sure you understand them. Or if you find I keep saying eyedropper and you're like, why does it keep saying eyedropper? Guess what? It's a tool for selecting colors from an image. Simple as that, okay? So use that too. Print it up. Keep it handy. Read through it. Best thing to do, read through these like once a week, once every other day. As many times as you need to do it, do it. Hotkeys for Mac, hotkey for Windows. I am a Windows dude, so I like using Windows. All my lectures are done in Windows. So if you're a Mac person, my hotkeys, as I say Control-N, you're going to say, that's not working for me, right, because you're on a Mac. Okay, it's Windows. Your hotkey for making a new file is Command-N. And again, this is something that in the on-ground, we actually have a test, but why have a test for it online like this? It doesn't make sense. You want to use these hotkeys. You want to have this sheet next to you the entire time you're working. And if you find, hey, I just went to the pen tool, what's the hotkey for pen tool? P. I want to use P. Instead of going to the toolbar and finding the pen tool, just hit P, okay? If you want to work quick, that's the way to do it. Here is some extra links right here. So here's Illustrator artwork. Just open that new window. And this is just going to give you just like what Illustrator is, what is vector artwork, what can be created, from that kind of thing. So all of these were created using Illustrator or some other source of vector artwork, okay? And some of these are for still imagery, and some of these are for animations. And you'll kind of figure that stuff out further on in the program. We are heavy into using After Effects for our motion graphic stuff, and Illustrator is completely reliant on being good at After Effects too. Nope, After Effects is completely reliant on being good at Illustrator so you can do your stuff. These two, or this thing here, that looks like it's like a picture, right? But it's not. That is drawn inside of Illustrator. And even this horn, that's drawn inside of Illustrator. You can go super realistic with these, and it creates a very stylized stuff too. It's amazing the versatility of Illustrator, and it is like people are using this all over the place. It's awesome. Okay, so you can check that out too. I don't want to go through all those. Here's Terry White on YouTube. It's just extra tutorials. Terry White is an amazing Adobe user, so check his stuff out. Here's Pluralsight, so you can link to that. So after you're done going through this video here, then you'll come over to your setting up your Dropbox, and then you'll watch the playing in Illustrator, and then you'll come down to the pathing assignment. Okay, so here is the pathing assignment. So that's what you would watch. There's also a pen tool game, right? The class that we have is very reliant on using the pen tool. Okay, and you may hate it. Adorable. But oops, next. So I want to hit P to use the pen tool. See how they already use that? And then I'm just going to click, maybe, there it goes. Here, there. So I want to make sure I understand how to use the tools first. Path to get this guy. Let's see. And the further I go, the more points I get. So it's a good way to kind of play around with the pen tool in a fun way and learn it. It's super important, but it can be frustrating. If you had Photoshop before, you've used the pen tool most likely. Okay. Cool. All right. So that's those modules here. Every week you will have a lecture, or every assignment you'll have a lecture. And then I'll sometimes give you examples. Sometimes I will give you a link to examples. Sometimes I will give you resource material to use. When you do your assignment, you're going to be turning in your assignment. Okay, so let's say assignment number 1 is pathing. You turn in pathing to your Dropbox folder. Then you jump onto Canvas and you go to the pathing discussion board. And then, this is, it may seem like stupid to do this, and maybe that's the attitude of some people, I don't know. But this is easy points, okay? This is probably the easiest points you'll ever get. All you have to do is, after you're done with the assignment, you jump into here and you say, what aspects of the assignment did you find most difficult? How did you overcome the problems? What are your thoughts about the assignment? How do you use the week's topic in another fashion or scenario? Okay? So you come into your discussion board, you hit the reply button, you type your answer out, and then what you do is you wait for somebody else to write something, and then you reply to theirs, and you comment something contributional to their stuff. Again, it's super easy to do. Some people decide not to do that. And if I still had my PDF open in the first day handout, you'll see that you lose a lot of points. You lose like 10 points, 8 points for not doing your discussion board, which to me doesn't make sense, but what do I know? I'm just teaching the class. Anyway, You'll find I'm not very serious for a lot of these things. I try to make it fun. I try to make the class relaxing. There's enough stress in trying to just learn the tools without me being, a dictator in here. Okay? So, on some of these assignments, it's going to be start over. You're going to start pathing. You're going to get done with 1 or 2. And you're going to say, nope, it looks like crap. And then you delete it and you do it again. And it looks like crap again. You delete it and do it again. The more times you do the stuff, the easier it's going to be. I have 20 students last semester who said the exact same thing when they did this assignment. They said, I just did it, and if I didn't like it, I deleted it and started over. Sometimes it's like 10 times easier than trying to fix it. We build on each assignment. So pathing builds on music icons, builds on logo, builds on Zentangle, builds on the gradient mesh, builds on the character, builds on the vector poster, and the infographic, and the tear sheet. Okay? Everything builds on things, so don't skip anything. Don't waste your own time or whatever. Cool. So that's our welcome to the class. So hopefully I didn't scare you away. Hopefully you're still with me. If you are, then you can jump down to setting up your Dropbox. Okay? So you can set up your Dropbox. You can use the Dropbox link. And then do your playing in Illustrator. And then once you're done with that, then you can start on the actual first assignment. The introduction discussion board is due on Wednesday. The pathing assignment and its discussion board is due on Sunday. Cool. Any questions? Shoot me an email, post it, let me know.